grade 4. How are you today? Are you fine? Let's complete that we started before in our final revision of first term. Now with week 7 and test 3. Are you ready to complete with me that we started before? Be ready, use your hands, use your pencil and paper, and be ready to answer with me. Complete the following. Fireflies are found on what trees? On mangrove trees. Write what the following sentence refers to. Raise your thumb up or down. What is this? What does it mean? Or write the scientific term. It's sign language code. Sign language code. Thumb up means yes. Thumb down means no. Sign language code. Give reason. Codes are very important in human life. Why? Because each code has a meaning to communicate with each other. To let humans communicate with each other. What happens if fireflies didn't emit flashes? What will happen? They will not communicate with each other. They will not attract a mate to reproduce. They will not also warn off predators when they feel danger. Mention one benefit of flashes emitted by fireflies. What is the benefit of flashes that emitted by fireflies? They emit different flashlights. 1. To attract a mate to reproduce. Number 2. To warn off predators in danger. Okay, test 1 in week 8. The diaphragm moves upward during what? During exhalation, yes. And downward during contracts, downward during inhalation. Write the scientific term. The time it takes for the body to receive information from the environment. What is this? Reaction time. Give reasons. The moon is not a source of light because moon is not a source of light. It doesn't emit its own light and reflects the sunlight that falls on its surface. What happens if saliva is not secreted during digestion? What will happen? The food will be hard to be swallowed as saliva moistens the food. Explain the similarity between the bat and cane for the blind person. What is the similarities between of them? Both of them use echolocation property. Both of them produce sound waves that hit the object and bounce back in the form of echo waves. But what are the differences between of them? In the special case of blind people, the echo waves turns into what? Echo waves turn into vibrations, okay, which a blind person feel to know the location of obstacles. Test 2 in week 8. The pharynx is an organ of what system? Pharynx in digestive system only. Lungs are organs of the what system? Organs of lungs of respiratory system. Okay. In pharynx also is called throat. So pharynx or throat in digestive and respiratory system. Both. I can say here digestive system. I can say also respiratory system. Why? Because pharynx or throat is found in digestive system and respiratory system also. Write the scientific term. Animals that are active at night look for food. They are nocturnal animals. Yes. Give reasons. Glass is transparent material. Why? Because glass allows light to pass through, allows light rays to pass through, so we can see things behind the clear. What happened? The small intestine is not part of the digestive system. The digestive system will not make its function correctly. Explain how amphibians adapt to the environment. I have to say amphibians live in water and also on land. So they use their skin underwater when they breathe underwater and also use their lungs when they breathe on land. Test 3, week 8. Fish extract gas what dissolves in water, and humans use this gas during the what process? Fish extract gas what? Oxygen gas dissolves in water, and humans use this gas during the respiration process. Write the scientific term. The main control center in the human body. I can say brain, but if he is asking about the brain or the system, I have to say nervous system. Give reasons. Fireflies emit flashlights. Why? To communicate with each other. Number 1, to attract a mate to reproduce. Number 2, to warn off predators when they feel danger. What happens if humans don't have lungs? The respiratory system can't make its function correctly, okay, and they can't breathe oxygen gas that reaches to the human's body cells and can't extract or expel carbon dioxide out of the body if there is no lung. Mention the scientific idea on which the blind cane based on. Blind cane based on or depends on the echolocation property. It produces sound waves that hit the obstacle, that hits the objects around the blind people and bounce off in the form of echo waves. These echo waves turn into vibrations which the blind person thumb, feel and know the location of obstacles. Test 1 in week 9. A moving object is acted by what forces? Moving by unbalanced forces, while the body at rest is acted by balanced forces. Yes, write the scientific term. Forces that pulls objects down toward the earth is gravity or gravitational force. Give reasons. The speed of the jet plane is greater than the speed of the truck. Why? Because jet plane has an engine, or jet engine is more powerful than the engine of truck. What happens when affected the body of balanced forces? Balanced forces, so the body will not move, be in a static state. Give an example of pushing and pulling forces. Pushing forces as what? I can say pushing forces like when I push something away, when I push a car away, or I can say kicking a ball. Kicking a ball is an example for pushing force. What about pulling force? Like gravity. Gravity is a pulling force. Like tug of war game, both of two teams use pulling force. Test 2, week 9. There are two types of forces, pushing and pulling force. Write the scientific term. The position of the body changes relative to a fixed starting point. What is this? Motion. Scientific term. I have to say motion. Give reasons. The car starts moving when the gases come out of the fire extinguishers. Why? Because this gas or this air has pushing force. When this air moves backward, it will push the car forward. What happens when increase the number of fire extinguishers on the car? By increasing the number of fire extinguishers, the pushing force of air increases, and also the speed of the car increases, and also the distance. Speed increases and also the distance that the car takes increases. Mention the state of the body when balanced or other unbalanced forces affected it. When balanced forces affected the body, it will not move, be in a static state. I have to say static state, but unbalanced movement in motion state. Week 9, test 3. Complete. Kicking the ball is what force? Pushing force. Okay. While tightening the hook is what? Is pulling force. Write the scientific term. It changes the place of the body from one place to another. It's what? Motion. Give reasons. The body doesn't move when it's exerted by balanced forces because the two forces that act on the body are equal. So the body will not move to any force or to any body. What happens when affected the body of unbalanced forces? The body will move to the greater force. Give an example of an easily seen movement and another that can't be seen. Easy movement as anyone moving or running in the street or walking in the street, okay? Cannot be seen like the rotation of planets around the sun or rotation of Earth around itself. Anything in the space is hard to be seen or cannot be seen. Test 1 in week 10. The backpack on your back has two forces acting on it. Backpack, I mean the handbag, under the effect of two forces, pulling force of my hand and pulling force of gravity. Write a scientific term. The ability to do work is what? Energy. Give reason. The speed of the car decreases when the brakes are applied. The speed of the car decreases when the brakes are applied. Why? Due to the friction force between the car tires and the road. That decreases the speed of moving object, and also the friction force of air that applies on object or on the moving car in opposite direction. Two reasons. What happens when you try to open the classroom door? What will happen? When I open the classroom door from inside, I will pull it towards me. When I try to open the door from outside, I will push it away from me. Okay, so I have to answer once from inside and once from outside. Mention an example of an object that has balanced forces acting on it. Okay, I can say a static book on a table. Okay, it's under balanced forces because it doesn't move. Week 10, test 2. The apple falling from the tree is what? Is pulling force of gravity. I can say pulling of gravity. While kicking a ball is what force? Pushing force. Write a scientific term. A force that arises between the surfaces of two bodies in contact. Friction force. Give reasons. An object moves when an unbalanced force acts on it. Why? Because the body will move to the greater force. What happens when? Pressing the brakes of the car. Pressing the brakes of the car. What will happen? The speed of the car decreases gradually until it stops. Due to what? Due to friction force that applies on the moving body in opposite direction. Explain the differences in the distance traveled by two cars of different masses. What will happen? The mass is in inverse relation with the distance. By increasing the mass, the distance decreases. And by decreasing the mass, the distance increases. How? The object which has the greater mass takes shorter distance, while the object which has less mass takes longer distance or farther distance. Week 10, test 3. There are two types of forces. I can say pushing and pulling, and I can say also balanced and unbalanced. A force that pulls objects down toward the earth is what? Is gravity or gravitational force. Give reasons. The distance traveled by a car varies with its mass. Why? I said it before. Because by increasing the mass, the distance decreases. By decreasing the mass, the distance increases. Object which has greater mass takes shorter distance. Object which has less mass takes farther or longer distance. What happens when kicking the ball with a certain force? What will happen? The speed of the ball increases and it changes its direction. Or I can say the ball will move a distance. Give an example of an object that's affected by unbalanced forces. The object will move to the greater force. Test 1. In week 12, complete the following. In an electric fan, the electric energy is converted into kinetic energy. Write the scientific term. Energy stored inside objects. I have to say potential energy. Potential energy only. Okay, give reason. The book on the table has energy because this book stores potential energy because it's under balanced forces. What happens when turning on the gas oven? The chemical energy in natural gas changes or transforms into thermal energy. Mention one form of kinetic energy. Like what? Kinetic energy has 4 forms. I can say sound energy, light energy, thermal energy, and electric energy. Test 2. In week 12. In a flashlight, what energy is converted into what? Chemical energy in a battery converted into light energy and thermal as a lost energy. Okay? The energy that an object possesses due to its motion, which energy? Kinetic energy. Give reason. The food we eat has energy because this food stores chemical potential energy. What happens when turning on the fan in the house? The electric energy changes into kinetic energy. Mention one form of the potential energy. Potential energy has 2 forms, chemical potential and gravitational potential. Test 3 in week 12. Complete the following. Factors affecting kinetic energy are what? Speed and mass. Yes. Write the scientific term. The force that is affected by height of objects is potential energy. Give reason. The car on the road has energy because the gasoline inside the car stores the chemical energy that it changes into kinetic when the car moves, and also thermal energy because of friction force. What happened when squeezing a spring? So it was free. So the kinetic energy changes into potential energy, not vice versa. Mention the difference between the potential and the kinetic energy. You have to make a comparison as we did in the class. According to definitions, potential energy, it is the energy stored in a static object. Kinetic energy, it is the energy of object in motion state. Okay, potential energy depends on 2 factors, mass and height, while kinetic energy depends on what? Depends on mass and speed. The 2 factors that potential energy depends on, 2 factors. As we said, what are the forms of potential energy? Gravitational potential, chemical potential. What are the forms of kinetic? 4, sound, thermal, light, electric. Okay, and you have also say an example for each one of them. Test 1 in week 13. Kinetic energy increases with what and what? Kinetic energy increases by increasing its factors, speed and mass. A very heavy ball used to knock down buildings, wrecking ball. Give reasons. The driver uses the seat belt while driving because the seat belt keeps drivers and passengers in their seats during collision from rushing forward. What happens when the ball collides with tennis racket? What will happen? The tennis racket speed increases. The tennis racket speed increases and it changes its direction. Okay? Most of kinetic energy transfers from the bat to the ball and some kinetic energy changes into sound energy that we can hear, and also into heat that we feel due to friction force. Calculate the speed of a bicycle moving a distance of 200 meters in 5 minutes. What should we do? I said before. First, you have to write the rule. You have to write the rule, okay? So I have to say first, speed equals distance divided time. You have to write the rule. Equals what? 200 divided 5 equals what? 40 meters per minute. Why? He said here minutes. He didn't say second. So I have to say the measuring unit, meter per minute. Please don't forget the measuring unit. Okay, test 2 in week 13. From the security and safety equipment in the car are what? Seatbelt and airbag. Write the scientific term. A physical quantity determined by distance and time is speed. Give reasons. The larger body in the mass doesn't more damage when collision. The larger body in the mass doesn't more damage when collision. Why? Does more damage when collision, because by increasing the mass, the damage increases and collision also increases as force increases also. What happens when? Increase the angle of inclination of the moving object. The speed of rolling object or moving object also increases. Calculate the speed of the car that travels a distance of 200 kilometers every 2 hours. Speed equals distance divided time. Equals 200 divided 2 equals what? Equals 100 kilometers per hour. Week 13, test 3. Complete the following. Speed depends on 2 main factors, distance and time. Write the scientific term. It's a safety equipment that prevents the body from moving forward. When a car crashes, it's what? Prevents the body from moving forward is what? Seat belt. Give reason. The airbag is very important in the car. Because airbag slows down the speed of moving car. Number 2, it absorbs the energy of collision, okay, during a crashing. What happens when 2 bodies collide with each other? The kinetic energy will transfer from the moving body to the other and causes damage with sound energy that we hear. Calculate the speed of a car that travels a distance of 500 kilometers every 5 hours. I have to say speed equals distance divided time equals 500 divided 5. Okay, equals 100 kilometers per hour. Week 14, test 1. The risk of collision increases by increasing the mass and the speed. Write a scientific term. 2 things bump or crash each other. What is this? Collision. Give reasons. In Newton's cradle, energy loss occurs in the form of thermal energy because some kinetic energy during collision between balls of Newton's cradle changes into thermal energy due to friction force between the Newton's balls car. What happens when 2 cars moving in the same direction collide? What happens when 2 cars moving in the same direction collide? It causes less damage than the 2 cars that move in opposite direction. Mention the relation between energy before collision and energy after collision. The energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. It will be equal the energy before collision equals the energy after collision. Okay, it will not be destroyed. It will not be destroyed, but it changes from form to another. More watt and watt of the body increases the risk of collision. More mass and more speed increases the risk of collision, increases the damage. Write the scientific term. Audible energy produced during a collision. Audible means I can hear. It's what? sound energy. Give reason. Energy loss occurs when Newton's cradle balls collide. Which energy is lost? Thermal energy and also sound energy. What happens when two cars moving in the opposite direction collide? The damage will be more. It causes more damage that cannot be repaired. And the person will be in danger. Mention the relation between the speed of the body and its kinetic energy. Direct relation. They are friends, as we said. Speed increases by increasing kinetic energy, and speed or kinetic energy decreases by decreasing the speed. Test 3 in week 14. Newton's cradle loses energy in the form of what and what? Thermal and sound. Write the scientific term. Energy stored by Newton's cradle when lifting a ball upwards. Energy stored by Newton's cradle when lifting a ball upwards. Stored potential energy. Give reasons. The collision increases with increasing the mass. Why? Because by increasing the mass of objects, the force of damage or the force of collision increases, so it causes more damage and more risks. What happens when increase the speed of the body in relation to its kinetic energy? The kinetic energy will be increased also. Mention the relation between the speed of the body and the force of the collision. By increasing the force of collision, the speed also increases, and the damage will be more and collision will be more. There are two basic types of forces. What are these? Pushing and pulling. Test 1, week 15. Okay, write the scientific term. A force that arises between two surfaces in contact. Before I complete, it's what? Friction force. Give reason. The poles of Newton's pendulum stop after some time. Why? Due to friction force between the pole and the other poles. Okay? That decreases the speed of moving poles until they stop. What happens if, when objects collide with each other, most of kinetic energy will transfer between them, and some kinetic energy changes into sound energy that we hear, and changes into thermal energy due to friction force. Calculate the speed of a train that travels a distance of 200 kilometers in a time of 2 hours. I have to answer speed equals distance divided time equals 200 divided 2 equals 100 kilometers per hour. Okay, test 2 in week 15. The potential energy depends on mass and height. Force that pulls objects down towards the center of Earth, gravity or gravitational force. Give reasons. The jet truck is one of the fastest shipments or equipment. Why? Because it has 3 jet engines that make it more powerful than any truck.